Now, I'm here in Rossaville Court in Ballyfermot with the people who live in Rossaville Court who are very badly affected by the complete loss of bus number 206. And as we look around us, out on the street, Dublin Bus have been down. They've taken the tops off the bus stops, so there's no danger that the bus might stop anyway, but it's completely gone. And first of all, Pat, we're going to talk to Brid Smith. Now, Brid has been leading a number of protests here in Ballyfermot, the People Before Profit protests, and they were trying to retain the bus service.
Hello, Brid.
Hello, Pat.
Now, tell us, how did you and your companions in the community actually use the 206? What was it for?
Well, it used to come through Ballyfermot and go into the city, and then they cut it back so that it only came through Ballyfermot and down to the West County Hotel. Now, there's lots of people here who totally depend on that bus service that can talk to you better about that than I can. But just to explain to you, when Dublin Bus announced its cost-cutting plan at the beginning of the year, the buses in Ballyfermot that were to be affected was the 206, which, as Valerie explained, is completely gone this morning, and the 78A, from which they were going to cut about 15% of the routes, or 15% of the schedule. And we held a public meeting, a very, very well attended public meeting. Your programme covered it way back at the beginning of February. And from there we launched a series of protests. We collected petitions through Ballyfermot. We had protests on the street, and one quite big and significant protest at the Kylemore roundabout. And we sent the petitions into the manager of the Cunningham Road depot, which services this area. So, you know, things progressed, and the unions went into dispute with Dublin Bus over the cuts and the implications the cuts would have for the drivers. And we were actually hoping that those cuts could be fended off because of the action of the trade union members in Dublin Bus. As it happens, the cuts are going ahead, and the resultant pickets on Harristown and Clontarf garages are a result of those cuts being implemented.
Yeah, but that's more about the driver being discommoded himself, one presumes, rather than about thinking of the community.
Well, absolutely, but the two things are entirely connected. I mean, if you're going to cut 120 buses or more from a service in Dublin, the implications of it for both the drivers and the community have differing effects, but we're seeing the effects of them today.
Can I read to you something that Dublin Bus has said? They said Ballyfermot is served in the following way. The routes 79 and 79A, there will be no change to these services. Route 76 and 76A, there'll be no change to those services. Route 78A, a minor frequency adjustment, 7 minutes to 8 minutes frequency. So, by and large, those remain absolutely intact. There's no problem with 79, 79A, 76, 76A, 78A, minor frequency adjusted there. So the service is still good. But the 206... this service has 6 trips each day, Monday to Friday. The average numbers using this service are 3 customers per trip. And really, no one in their right minds could possibly sustain a service like that.
Well, first thing to say about it, and you can talk to the community here, is that 6 services a day and the times at which they come is totally inadequate to facilitate the people down here. Now, this end of Ballyfermot has a more than average ageing population. We're also, as Valerie said, sitting in an old folks complex called Rossaville Court, which has a population of over 60 people, none of whom would have the access to cars. A lot of them don't have the physical ability to walk the 1.5 miles to the post office, to get into James's Hospital, the 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles to see their doctor, 1 mile to go to church.
Yeah, but the point is that only, even though they had the service here, the 206, only 3 people on average were using it per trip, 18 people per day. You know, well, that's what they say.
I think those figures could be challenged, but the point is that had the service been a sensible service, first of all, they take a double-decker down. There's absolutely no need to take a double-decker bus down here, besides which the people who use it couldn't climb the stairs. But had they used a small bus...
What, a little imp, that kind of bus?
Yes, exactly, and had a frequent service that people knew they could rely on, then you would avoid a situation where, depending on what time your doctor or your hospital appointment or the time you go to Mass is, that you're not taking taken taxis.
And tell me this, Brid, did the 206, when it went down to the West County Hotel, did it connect then with the other buses? I mean, did they pass the door?
Once it gets up to the main drag in Ballyfermot, you could get off and get another bus into town. However, it has to be said, when the 206 went from here into the city centre, there was a far greater usage of it. When it stopped going into the city centre, the usage dropped. But the point is that there is a significant number of people here today and tomorrow, when people get older and get sicker and arthritis kicks in, that will depend on a bus service. They are having to use taxis.
All right,
and at least €15 for a taxi to go up to the shop or go to Mass.